All right, so hello everybody. We're here to talk about Daryl Dixon, episode 4. And I need to start off by saying that this is probably one of my favorite episodes in the Walking Dead universe, probably top 10. I mean, I could just be off the adrenaline still, but anytime we get reunions, action, whatever you want to call it. I mean, so much happened, man. I mean, this episode felt so much longer than it actually was, and that's not because it was dragged out, but it was because it was so eventful, and that alone makes it like one of the best episodes in the. I think in out of the 2 seasons we've got, this might be definitely top three. I don't know. I can't wait to hear what you guys have to say specifically, but I'm really excited to just dive into it and talk about it. I mean, after the last episode, we knew it was gonna kind of pick up action wise, just because the episode that we saw Carol witness all of the murders, like everything go down, it was pretty ridiculous. Like we knew after how like they lined everyone up, we knew it was gonna be a similar thing. They were clearly trying to test these walkers, and I think this is the first time I've truly admired the variants, if you will, because we've gotten variants in the past, but I feel like this episode specifically, we got to see the variants booking it. Like they were running. Like we saw them kind of like jog or at least speed walk. I feel like before, but I feel like we've never really seen them run like the way they ran in this episode. Like they were so much more terrifying than I feel like than I've experienced them before, and I don't think it's close. Um, but obviously having them all lined up, I was curious on how they were gonna handle the whole Carol situation, her getting out of it. At the end of the day, it comes down to plot. like how did she survive? Plot. But she got behind the biggest dude she could find and just used that man as padding. And it made sense. Her getting away really caught me off guard. I'm really looking forward to seeing what's happening with I'm so bad with names, but Gurdant, some whatever his I gotta look it up at this point because I cannot disrespect the man that put his life on the line and straight up said, "Tell Dixon I did it for the boy." Like that. This man went out. I don't know if he's gone or what, but it was really interesting to see how they picked it up or how they handled that. Um, I know it's going to come down to people feeling, or talking about the 6 episode format because that is a big thing. That really does decide on how fast they kind of move the story forward, and I feel like we saw it a lot in this episode because as eventful as this episode was, a lot happened that I feel like some people might say shouldn't have happened yet, and I feel like that is kind of the same with Genet. Like I feel like with the way they handled her character, I feel like that was really really fast. And again, I'm not disappointed. I'm not crapping on what they did with their character because I'm happy. I'm satisfied. But I can understand people's point of views when it comes to the fact that they could have rushed or they might have rushed it. Because that everything there specifically happened so fast. But I think the way that they handled her death was extremely creative. Want to put that out there because in the beginning of the episode we saw Carol get hit with a dart, which I was afraid that it could have long-term effects if it doesn't hit her or affect her right in that moment, but we saw her take it out pretty fast. But we saw Janae end up getting hit with that, and since it was in a spot she couldn't reach, we literally saw her explode from the inside out, and it was sick. But visually, it reminds us we are watching a horror show, Like they did a really, really good job with that. It was sick. Her eyes turning black. It was just, I think from a creative standpoint, it was just really interesting to look at. I mean, as sick as that sounds, they did a really good job, with everything. I'm looking at the Daryl Dixon cast and I'm seeing Sylvie sitting there. They did her so dirty. I love this character. I love the actress. She's freaking amazing. I am still disappointed with what they did with her, but what are you gonna do? But Gudron, I think his name is. So we also see him in the beginning of the episode. Like literally taped or chained to the car. So I was interested to see him again and see how that went down. Again, we haven't seen him since, so I'm really excited to see more of that or see what happened. Maybe I missed something. Who knows? But again, there was just so much that happened in this specific episode. And I think the first like 10 minutes starting off with all that action was a really, really interesting choice. But at the same time, it was extremely depressing. I think this is the first episode too, maybe that we didn't get Laurent. So that was also that's gonna be interesting to see the whole reunion with Carol and I mean with Daryl and Laurent. And of course Laurent finding out what happened to Isabel, which is my next point. I want to hear how you guys felt about that scene because I feel like one thing that they've really pushed in this season was the romance between Isabel and Daryl. And again, I've really enjoyed that because we haven't had romance with Daryl in the show like in the franchise too much. Like we got a little bit with Connie and everyone was rooting for that, but that didn't work out. That they didn't really do anything with that, which me personally I wasn't a fan of because I really wanted to see that go somewhere. This man was learning ASL for her, which is something that like, that's a big step. Just learning a whole language so you can communicate with someone, that's a come on, and then we see him here and call it forced or not, considering that he has spent significantly less time, not timeline wise, but just episode wise with this character. So to see them kind of connect the way they did, I was rooting for it too. I think the man should be happy, but God forbid, right? So to see the way they kind of went about with her character, it got me questioning things. I'm not sure if I'm happy about it, but at the same time, I think I'm at a point where it's like realistically in a 6 episode format show to bombard it with so many characters can get overwhelming. It can kind of flood the story and make things kind of a little crazy. So to kind of kill her off in a situation where you know it wasn't too forced. Like the fact that the nest was getting overrun, everything was going to shit. It makes sense for her to go out. The way she went out, I wasn't a huge fan of. I think I do understand that this guy is going to be a problem. He's been a problem, but for him to just simply stab her and for her to go out like that, I was just like, okay, I don't know. I don't know if I'm satisfied with that, but especially when there's so many other threats, running amok. But again, it really just comes down to hearing how the fans are going to be processing everything. Definitely excited to hear what you guys have to say because there's just so much that happened in that specific moment, whether it was her getting stabbed, of course Genet taking over the nest and finding him, and then of course Genet ending up dying to the point where they needed a new leader. There was just so much that was going on. It was crazy, but it all came down to of course Daryl and Carol ending up they were escaping. But the action that we got specifically when they let Daryl out of the cage, because that kid knew like this is my safest bet, and just seeing Daryl cooking and taking out these dudes, eventually leading to Carol, and then we like the reunion. Norman Reedus is just such an like such a great actor, like, and I want to kind of back that up with some other scenes, and I don't even need to mention any of his other projects. The Walking Dead alone has had some of the best reunion scenes out of any show that I've watched, whether it's episode 3 of season 1 where Rick, sees Carl and Lori, or season 5 where the reunion kind of between all these characters after Terminus, when Daryl sees Carol, that reunion after Carol was kind of taken away from the group and kind of shunned, if you will. I mean, there's so many reunions in this show, and it just makes me so excited. Like, I want this show to go on for a while, but at the same time, I want it to end just so we can get a Rick and Daryl reunion. Because the way that, even after the whole Negan thing in season 8, where we get the Rick and Daryl reunion, and the way, like the same thing, like just seeing Daryl, who's a character who doesn't really display emotions that much, when he does break down, it just makes it so much more impactful. And I think it goes back to some other shows that I really admire, such as like Supernatural, where we have characters like Jensen, or actors like Jensen Ackles, who plays Dean, a character who's has that tough exterior, who doesn't really show that emotion too much, but when he does, it does hit hard because it's just so impactful. Whatever's hitting him, there's like a significant reason behind it. And the same thing goes here. We haven't seen them together since November of 2022, and I know the timeline is different here, but to see it from our point of view, knowing it's been 2 years for us, which is crazy. I want to put that out there. It's been like 2 years since The Walking Dead ended, which is just crazy to me. But to see just the way he kind of embodied all that emotion, whether some of it was legitimate from the fact that they've haven't recorded together in quite some time. I don't know. It just made the entire scene so much more impactful to me, and I think they did a really good job handling that, because it's like the whole entire scene felt like an actual journey, whether it wasn't. And I'm not even talking about the legitimate journey that we had with the first 4 episodes with them trying to get to each other. I'm talking about the fact that they were in the same hallway, but he had to take out like 10 walkers just to get to her. You know what I'm saying? Just to see him boom, 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 clear the way, and then she's right there. It just felt like a journey on its own, and I think they've just done a really good job. And I understand people are going to be upset with the fact that we had 3 episodes of them just kind of trying to get together, and then 3 episodes where we're actually together, which I think is good. I honestly didn't think we were going to get together until the end of this episode, which meant we were only going to have like 2 episodes together. But realistically, for a show that we know is going on and going to continue, it makes sense to me, because I honestly wouldn't have liked for her to be like, hey, I found a guy who has a plane. We're in Paris. Daryl sees the plane go by. The plane crashes. He finds the crash, and that's the reunion. You know what I'm saying? I think, like, realistically, like, as big, it's such a big country. Like, it makes sense for there to be an actual journey for them to actually reunite. So I'm glad they handled it like that. I think what they've done has been cool. I think going back to the episodes when we do our rewatch, we're gonna really appreciate the journey and what it took for them to get back to each other, because that's what it is, man. I mean, they have just done so much to get back to each other, and I don't know, it's meant a lot to me. But I'm excited to see how they handle the next 2 episodes, because a lot's gonna go down, obviously, because now the Nest is under new management. That's gonna be kind of crazy, or he has a whole new army. I don't know, whatever you want to call it, but I do want to say the one thing that really broke me. Of course, Isabel dying has been a big thing, and I think Carol read off the rip that she meant a great deal to Daryl, more than Daryl kind of let off, and I think that's one thing that I think was important for her to kind of hear from Daryl how important Isabel was, because this is something Carol just, she wants to be that person that he can connect to, and I think that's where the scene where she says, "Oh, you grew awfully close to these people pretty fast." I think I was trying to comprehend what she meant by that completely. I think it's down to interpretation. I don't know. I'm really excited to hear what you guys have to say, because part of me, it's like she took a long time for her to be able to break his shell, and here he is. But I think I don't know. I could be wrong, but I feel like she's not taking credit for this. I think the thing she needs to take credit for is the fact that he is able to be more trusting because of people like Carol, because of people like Rick. I think that's one thing that she needs to understand, that he has become more human because of the characters like that. Like, he has, and I don't want to say soft, because sometimes soft can come off as an insult, but he has become more soft because of the people he's cared for, and it's allowed him to kind of open his arms out for more people, like Laurent, like Isabel. And I think that's the one thing that I think that Carol needs to understand, is that she's allowed him to be more human. And we've seen that over the last 10 years of this show, where he has been just a really rock hard, he's had a rock hard shell, and it takes a lot to crack it. He doesn't trust anybody. Whenever we were in a new era, whether it's Alexandria or whatever, he didn't trust anybody. He stuck with this group, and that's all he cared about. But to see him kind of open up and to be more trusting, it's just really shown how great the character development is, in my point. I mean, that's just the way I see it. I mean, I still stand to this day, like, The Walking Dead has some of the best development. I think Carol has some of the best development in TV. Same thing goes with, like, Arya Stark. I think these are characters that, to see them over the years develop into the characters, that they are, considering when they first started, they were just a complete opposite. It's just been so much fun to watch. And I think that's the reason why um, I like what they've done. And I think that's why Carol and Daryl are 2 characters that I really enjoy. And I know I've heard other people say the opposite, where they didn't really care for the characters. For me, them stepping up and being the leads of The Walking Dead when Rick had to take, when he took a step back, that it was fine for me. I loved the show so much. I loved all the characters. It was fine for me. So I was okay with that. personally, them two leading this show, I think it's going to be fine. Again, the fact that we had to say goodbye to certain characters like Isabel, who I love the actress. Loved her since freaking Goblet of Fire. It's just one of those things where I'm just like, it really sucks that it feels like this. It felt like in order to get, Carol involved, we had to say goodbye to Isabel. And I know maybe that's not the route. That wasn't what they were going for. It just feels like that. We got to push this character in, but we got to push them out. It felt like that. That probably isn't the case, but unfortunately, that's the way I feel. So I'm definitely excited to hear what you guys have to say. I'm just it's gonna be crazy. I don't know. It's been nuts. It's been a really really crazy, you know, last few episodes. But this episode was absolutely bonkers. We got 2 episodes left, so I'm excited to see how it goes. Really excited to see Carol kind of bond with Laurent. I'm curious to see how that's gonna go. I mean, they could go like the route where Laurent doesn't like Carol because he feels as though she's trying to replace Isabel. But I mean, I really hope they don't do anything like that. Maybe that's just my brain going too wild. I don't know, but I'm excited to see what route they go. So I mean, it's gonna be interesting. I honestly expect, since if Isabel's not gonna be there, the guy that's with Laurent, I expect him to die. I wouldn't be surprised if we end up finding Laurent by himself trying to survive. I mean, I don't know why I'm thinking like that. That would be sick, but there's just so many theories popping up in my head after this episode. It's just been nuts. But again, the one thing I do want to go back to is the variants. I think that was the best part of the episode. So terrifying. I feel like the one thing with these spin-offs that we were excited about was seeing variants. And I don't want to be, I hate to say this, I don't know if it's an unpopular opinion, but I've been severely underwhelmed with some of the variants that we've seen. So to see them kind of take a step up, in my opinion, I don't know if it's because we got to see a herd of them booking it like this, or just tearing the city down and just going crazy on these people. I don't know if that's what it was, but I thought they absolutely killed it. And I'm just really happy with everything. So I'm going to leave it there. Can't wait to hear what you guys have to say. I don't want you to be shy. I want you guys to talk to me in the comment section, of course. And if you guys want to see the reaction, you can go over to my channel, which will be in the description, and you can watch the reactions. We're going to be going live every Monday on my channel, so feel free to come over there and talk to us about all things Walking Dead. We're going to have a little crew with us. Should be fun, but I can't wait to continue doing the weekly reviews over here. So stay tuned, and we go so full on over here compared to what we do on the other channel when we're not live. When we do reactions, we do a quick summary. That's it, and that's why I love doing this over here, because I get to talk about my favorite franchise with you guys. So talk to me in the comment section. Don't leave me hanging, and I can't wait to hear what you guys have to say. Thank you guys for checking out Team JVS, and I'll see you guys next time. Peace out.